All right, good, y'all. It's your boy No Name. Let's get right into it. Got a lot of cover. Following up, remember I said I missed some time. Didn't really get how to get faster right, but whatever. We got to cover some stuff because past 3 days we got Tuesday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We've gotten two things today. Supports, which I covered in a video. Check that out. Then there are two keystones that I have here for this video, and then I've got another video for talk about the map device. Map device thing. We're gonna talk about both these keystones here together to give you guys my general thoughts as we start to shape my plans for the Atlas this year. So let's start with the Delhi keystone that we have here on screen. Unending Nightmare. Delirium fog in your map never dissipates. Delirium orbs cannot be found on your maps. Simulacrum splinters cannot be found on your This is actually extremely straightforward. I like it. This makes mirrors permanent as opposed to how just like orbs are in exchange for the fact that you don't get orbs and splinters. Orbs, especially being a primary expert of Delhi mirror farming, and splinters, in the hundreds if you're doing the right map setup. This opens up a couple of things though. At first read, I thought this was bad. I did. I read it over and I was like, who in their right mind would use this? Why would you take away the rewards from Delhi? And this is now two parts on why you would use it, right? One, you know, it's worth noting, by the way. Part of this is definitely trade league informed, as I'm a market guy. I like the market. And the number one thing I've noticed is that simulacrum splinters are actually not worth all that much due to the extreme decline in the price of simulacrums over the past couple of weeks, due to the ability to create simulacrums very efficiently. This may change because of Unending Nightmare, by the way. Because people will find a use for this, there's a possibility that this changes. Use with this information as you will. Number one is that Delirium has always functioned as a loot multiplier on your monsters, even after changes that happened in I cannot remember the league. Um, Even after the changes that happened to loot area loot, uh, Delirium is still a way to make monsters drop more loot, and so magic finding strategies tend to utilize some amount of Delirium orbs a fit to their build. Ideally, really, if headhunter juicing with the but or even just not even magnified. Maybe there's people who are farming apothecary, right? Using Unending Nightmare, you now have another way of getting Ethereum without accessing trade in particular, which is popping fog. Which spoilers, it's on the map device, so huge. But popping fog, and now you have permanent deli on your map, which now is permanent bonuses to the map, loots everywhere. Love that. Um, Use case number two, and it is kind of related to use case number one, is the layout that Unending Nightmare opens. Um, there's a number of maps that historically have been very good, either in the parts that they drop or in the density of the layout, but are not good for Delirium due to the fact that its layout is not linear, and therefore the mirrors cannot keep up. You can orb them, but you can never mirror them. But orbing is a bit of a hassle and right? Just sometimes people don't want to trade. Whatever it may be, mirrors will be sufficient for them. Especially if you think about wandering path trees, where you can take up to, I believe the number was chance to the delirium mirror. I'm gonna double check this. But you can get an immense amount of delirium spawn chance through like wandering path, whatever it may be. There was ways to get mirrors. Defiled Cathedral, a great apothecary map. Um, Great apothecary map. Can't really use Delhi there, right? Or um Grotto, if you're a golem jewel farmer, for example, great map. However, again, that layout doesn't really work for Delhi. Long list of maps historically that don't really, even like if you're just a toxic sewers engineer just for the sake of it. Toxic sewers is not exactly the greatest map in the world for mirrors. And so I think this also just opens moving Delhi to these other layouts. And what you then instead would be doing is focusing more on the fact that it is a loot multiplier, fact that you can still drop cluster jewels. Cluster jewels. It makes better use of that notable on the Atlas tree that will plus 1 year rewards when you clear the map boss, because on more layouts you are just likely to actually clear the map boss. Then you're looking at your map bosses. Oh, right. Yeah, there's also the post the illusions of persecution. Hate the name change on that, by the way. It's been like over a year and I still can't stop calling it persecutor illusion. Uh but delusions of persecution, as well as the other notable sorcery. I can't remember the name of something. But both of those nodes are also fairly strong, just because there's still things that the part of the effects are not hampered by unending nightmare, right? Your fog lasts longer, therefore ecosis or omni will, yeah, ecosis or omniphobia will not be spawned on you while being a deadly mirror. And relatedly, compulsory gets better because now you have more of the map to clear in order to get additional value from those staggered in reward tiles. I think there's a lot of potential here. I think it's cool to see what gets done with it on the lower end side of things. And I want to see if Unending Nightmare breaks into high level magic. All right, that's one of the two keystones. Now you might be already be able to see why I separated this from the gems video, even though these types of things all release on the same day. I just have so much theory to go around map device things, because or with mapping things, because we have this data already. We know how these things work. We don't really have the data for the other one. Timeless conflict. Legion encounters in your map have no timer. Making out monsters in Stasis chests that are stasis progressively causes a schism. And Legion encounters in your map begin once the schism has occurred. So, I'm going to talk about this in a couple parts. Start with the word with schism. Who in the world uses the word schism? Like, what are we? Is this the 1800s? That's crazy, bro. But schism, in this case, sounds just like a fancy word for saying the more monsters in chests that you break have a score. When you amount enough score, Legion begins. That's what I translated this to roughly, to create like regular people speech. Break out enough stuff, and then it just forces it. That's when you start the fight. What this is, because at first, again, I read it and I was like, what? What? Who would use this? Here's the answer to who uses timeless conflict, by the way. It is builds that need to be able to do Legion for whatever reason it may be. And this is particularly thinking about SSF, hardcore SSF, maybe even like moments, private leagues, whatever the situation may be, not trade, where you really need to do Legion in order to get, generate a jewel that you're trying to farm that glorious vanity for your character. Your character's not the most optimal Legion farmer, though. Let's just say you're a cold dot character. Cold dot, like, you do good damage in Legion, but it's not very easy for you to clear the entire Legion. But if there's no timer on it and you can just walk around and open every general, sergeant, and chest in the area, your life's made a lot easier. And now you might be thinking, well, you can just roll another character, but like people don't like doing that. Timeless conflict allows you to get around having to do that, and it saves you a lot of points in investment because there are already notables on the tree that do this. Extended more damage to stasis enemies, more duration, all of that. You can now consider investing in this instead of those duration points. So overall, this has a use case. It's a weird one, it's a bit of a niche, not a high end strategy. It'll also be interesting to see if the word schism comes up in any other context regarding if there's any changes. Again, patch notes in a couple of days will tell. That's all for this one. Covered all this stuff here. Definitely check out the video. Got the device up as well because it's going to pair with it as well. As well as Thursday night, you should come check me out on stream. 6 out. Down enjoy with these patch notes. It's gonna be talking. I have all the time, guys. Come through, check it out. Thank you for watching.